You go.
The Pleiadians have only been coming through vocally since the first week of February. At the very end of January, with the help of Anthony and Anonica, who showed me that connection, it took me less than a minute or two for them to come through for the first time, and they were speaking with me with one word or so. And then after the third session, they said that the preparations were ready. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know what that meant. And after three more, they said that we're ready. And I was like, I still don't know what that means, but each time they progressed and gave me more and more information. And then it got to be complete sentences. And then right after that, a couple of times they said, um, if you want to speak our words, it will not affect us. So I took that as a cue and I started recording those sessions with my contact on February 8th. And they've been after me for more than a week to get the message out because they want this message to be heard. And they have kind of enlisted me as a recruitment officer in some ways so they can connect with more people. The Pleiadians that I'm channeling are from a future timeline and seventh density. So they are kind of an evolution of the Pleiadians, which are going to be contacting Earth. And they've been waiting for me to raise my vibration and bring them in so they can start working on me. And every time we connect, they adjust my biology so I can handle more and more energies and different energies. So I'm excited about it, and they're really excited about it. And today they helped me they actually took me to another civilization today and gave me information on them. I just kind of offhand asked during Zile's meditation I was going to ask the Pleiadians about it, and they instantly came through with a lot of information about um, about the civilization that she just first contacted as the first human being to ever do that. So they've apparently become a bridge to other civilizations and entities as well. And I'm just really excited to see where this goes. And unless anybody else has any questions, then
Can you tell us a little bit how this started for you and how you've been increasing the contact?
I really haven't done anything to increase the contact. Personally, I just do the meditation, which is putting your open palm on part of your body below your neck and concentrating on where the palm of your hand contacts your body. And I use my left hand on my left knee because it's comfortable for me when I sit, and they just come in right away. I was explaining that to somebody when I was at lunch, and I accidentally butt dialed them because they started coming in, and I'm like, oh no, I was just explaining this. I didn't want you to come in right now. But yeah, they're very active and they really want to connect with other people because their goal with me is to experience my personal ET contact and the contact of humanity through me. And they wish to broaden that reach so they can get as many different perspectives on the opening of humanity to ETs as possible.
Be- Beautiful. And with that, we're going to let you get into your process.
Um,
And the,
and it is a female, and she does speak rather softly. So,
do you bring a message to begin with, and then
well,
questions? We'll see.
yeah, we will see.
We
So,
will see. Okay.
and our message to all of you is not only to thank you for this co-creation and giving us the opportunity and a voice in some ways, but to let you know that we are of service to all of you and any who wish to contact us. If you have that impulse, know that we have already contacted you in the dream state. And we are ready to move forward in not only your personal growth assistance, but also to ready your biology as we have with the channel, so you may too handle more and more energies, which is a preparation for your own personal contact event. We are excited about this, as we know there will be more of you who decide to embark on this aspect of their journey and expansion. We will wait until the questioning, and then we may have other messages thereafter, if that pleases the group.
And so Tom has the floor.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. And my question will be the same one I had for the Sasani channel earlier. Is the mystery of the tall whites, is there anything you can share about them?
Yes, there is, and we anticipated this question as you relayed that to the channel earlier. And obviously, you have been summoned in some ways because of a counterpart connection. It is a loose counterpart connection in what we understand, but it is different than any other connections, of course, as you feel that vibration differently than you have any others, which has helped pique your curiosity about them. They are wisps in the wind, if they choose to be. And while they always listen and learn, they are more energetically involved in maintaining various energies and filling in the gaps where energies need further support than the other energies involved are able or not willing, but need an extra push or an extra structure in order to make those energies stronger where they are needed. They are builders of energies, and they have the ability to bring in many different energies and weave them into a form which serves the natural flow of things. They have been, they are ancient. And as the channel has relayed, there are many from Alpha Centauri, but they do not really call any place home. They are more energetically focused, but have the ability to become physicalized and walk amongst you if they so choose, if it has a legitimate purpose. They would not do this just for entertainment purposes. They do have gifts to share with humanity, not only through their personal connections with select individuals who are apt to call them in. And if that desire is strong and their vibration is high enough, then they will answer that call when the time comes. They are not bound by third density constraints, obviously. So do not be dismayed if you reach for them and it takes them time in your time for those connections to unfold, as they will do whatever they need to do on their end to make sure that it does flow naturally. Does that help you?
Indeed. Yeah, thank you for that. It's one puzzle piece of many informations I will be gathering, I surmise.
And know that you are capable of completing that puzzle. You are reaching out, and they will not be the last entities to get in line to connect with you.
It almost seems like they're kind of like supporters, like this, they support the processes that we're going through.
Yes, they tend to operate in the background. They do not need the spotlight in order to do their work. More like in some ways, the director of the show, but they do not even take a leadership role. They are more, as we stated, filling in the gaps where energetic support would help the overall missions, not only of the planet, but of the entire Earth collective, including all species and those of the higher realms. They are very dependable.
It feels like that kind of supportive energy probably filters in through the healing work that I do.
They can be called upon to assist you. Just know that they respond in their own time. It is not like when we summon in, as I'm using the channel as an example, other beings, and we can pretty much anticipate when they will show up. This is not their way.
All right, thank you.
Milo,
I have
please.
I have a question. Um, could you, as part of the Pleiadian civilization, could you tell me about um, about your sense of humor, specifically, and in a more general sense, about your sense of play, just how your civilization views humor or uses humor, and more generally, how you view and use play.
For starters, we were very amused by you saying you have a question when we understand that you have several, if not a dozen questions, and you jostle them back and forth like a lottery ball to see which one comes up, and then you agree to address it. You have an issue, if we may be so bold, in overcoming fears. You should look into this and examine why you may not be so willing to come forth with your gifts when many have told you that not only they are valuable, but are eager to hear you. That is where you will find your greatest joy in play, in playing with the energies which come in. Others, you have a safe platform here. And with the addition of additional sessions, there is plenty of room in this playground of channeling for you to come on in and swing, if we might say. You only need to do it. Push your fears instead of down and in front. Push them into your heart and ask, where did this come from? And you will get the answers that you need. You will need to figure out how to resolve them on your own, but that will help direct you into the beliefs which are, in your terminology and your belief, holding you back. And if you ask the others in this group, you will find that they are ready to hear you. As far as playing, we have our own games, if you will, but one of our joys is seeing the absurdities of races which are still growing in ways which we find novel. The human race is abundantly full of those things which we may find humorous, for they block themselves in ways as it is like they have a ticket for the show, but all they do is wonder about how they will get there, what they should wear. They throw up all kinds of things in front of them rather than just focusing on how great the performance will be. And you are no exception there. So, does that help answer your question? And or would you like to get to the other 11?
It doesn't answer my question, but it gives me what I believe is some very, very good information.
We are here to be of service, and we are sorry we did not mean to mislead you, but we have a penchant for providing the humans a service in what they need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jean-Francois?
Yeah. Thank you for being there for us tonight, for the group. I have two questions. One is, what is, from your perspective, in the future, my relationship with the Pleiadians? I connected to past life that I had in the Pleiades, and I've channeled some beings there, and I'm curious to know if you have any advice for me on communication with the Pleiades, or anything you would like to say about my connection with your civilization.
First, we would like to applaud you on all of your efforts and continued focus on advancing on your spiritual path. Know that there are no limits, and for you, you do not have to depend on counterparts first, as many do, which eases the connection between the other realms and your physical mind and heart and bodies in some way. You have developed an openness and are willing and express that desire very intently, which calls other beings in. They are merely waiting their turn, so to speak. Otherwise, you may be overloaded in some ways, and for you, it is best to let them settle in before you move on to the next one, if that makes sense. As far as your previous connections, that is, as you know, all time is simultaneous and still in the developmental stage. So the previous connections that you had no longer really exist in your timeline. We do encourage you to not put any preconceived notions about how this new connections with Pleiadians may come occur, and it may not be with the Pleiadians at all, as there is a party waiting for you to come in and be their guest of honor. So just being open to new experiences and new adventures with other beings who wish to come to you will help ease that flow into further expansion and growth and lessons for you, which you will be pleased will allow you to relay other valuable information to others, which is your core belief that you wish to explore in this lifetime of physicality.
Thank you so much for this answer. I'm grateful for that. And my second question is, what is your advice for the human race right now at this moment in time to create unification in our human race?
We love how you already ask questions which you know the answer to test those entities which are coming in to you. And as you would say, and you know, it is authenticity. If humans would just be themselves to the best of their ability, even if they are not at the vibrational level which will allow them to reach to other beings or vice versa, then they will help progress by being led to focus on those issues which will help them raise their vibrations and enable those connections on a limited basis at first. Then it is up to them to trust and to seek and hold the information that they receive in their heart and know that it is helpful for them. Some of them, as many of you know, will doubt that the messages that they hear are really reaching out from their own physicality. They wonder where those voices come from. And obviously, discernment of your mind speak and your heart speak is one part, but also the third aspect is identifying those frequencies which are coming in, which are not originating in your physical illusion, we will say. And we know you have another question. If you may be brief and others will permit it, please go ahead.
Yeah, my last question. I love it. What would be your advice to practice patience?
We would ask you, how would you answer that question?
Oh, I feel it's me talking to me right now.
It is all a reflection of you, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I would say just enjoy the moment and take it a moment at a time and have as much fun as possible.
I think that's excellent answer. But the key is not to have patience. Patience is a time constraint. It is stuck in the 3D reality, linear aspects which you have chosen to experience. So when people mean patience, they normally mean how do I fill in the time in between things when I don't know what's going on and I may need time to consider what my next moves or choices are. And they wish to not look at the things which come to them in those moments of neutrality, I will say. Then if they do that, then they will have those beliefs which come up, which they believe are not giving them patience. And they need to explore why they have those beliefs. The channel has an ongoing aspect to do that and has recently become his a goal of his to do that after the lovely Esme, who came through, had a personal conversation with him. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and I love the perspective shift. Thank you.
Michelle.
I'm here. My question is kind of just more information. I've since I was born, I've had the constellation Pleiades on my right arm. Is there any significance to this?
The significance is whatever you place upon it. You are a flower beginning to bloom. Nurture yourself. Give yourself what you need. You have plenty of room to grow, not only in this group, but outside of it. The connections which you can make are dependent on your focus. You may tend to try many things at one time, and if you stick to one or two, as you are very good at multitasking, then you will find that you can make further inroads and get a stepping stone on a couple and then maybe move on to others, as your intuition will guide you, of course. You trust it greatly, but you allow some limiting beliefs to slow your progress, which has been a desire of yours to shed that. The year of the snake is great for that transition for you. And we are glad that you understand and hope that you take the other answers which we have given to the previous questioners to heart, as they are for you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sila,
Good moment to you.
And to you, the channel really appreciates the connection which you have developed and which has been given to you both in some ways. It is a very helpful back and forth of learning and engagement, which is delightful for the other beings who are observing your collective to experience in some, well, in a variety of different ways, depending on the being or energy which chooses to focus there.
Yes, um, I think humans in general are entertaining to the whole universe or galaxy. There's a lot going on and very specific to our group. So we are very happy to play with you and with each other in this way. My question is around yourselves. Are you still physical in form right now in your counting of time?
As seventh density beings, we do not have physicality per se, although if we choose to go that route, it is easier for us to elicit avatars or to make suggestions to other beings in the realms in which we wish to interact with in some ways to achieve our desires. And as you know, as many of you know, there are multiple timelines and possibilities in which we can do this. We have the ability, being outside of most time constraints, of choosing the situational times which are most effective for us, so we may maintain our efficiency in whatever we do.
All right. So the counterparts that we are going to meet of yours in linear time, your predecessors, they are physical. So what kind of ships do they have or use? Can you tell us more about their ships, please?
We can, but we would rather give you the satisfaction of finding that information out on your own. That is a goal of yours, and you rejoice exceptionally at achieving new tidbits of information. We would not like to steal your thunder as you obtain that information through your own efforts, while you enjoy eating a variety of tidbits like that. The joy for you is getting them and putting them on your plate yourself.
But this is part of the avenues with which I can get the tidbits. So you can put some on my plate and we can all rejoice together, right?
Thank you for acknowledging our options. We appreciate it. And we will leave you to your own unfolding at this time. Or you may ask others in this group who are quite capable of providing you the information that you like. But you may find that after this, they may want you to find out on your own and you already have sufficient contacts in which to do this on your own. But if you reach out to others in this group who are very talented, then you will find the right person to ask you. We suggest using the chat and seeing what answers you get.
Oh, you beings are all the same. No, I'm kidding. You never want to give answers. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. I'll let the next person ask the question. Thank you.
We appreciate your false sense of frustration.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
The Pleiadians are a part of the group of star people that I have been connected to. They are working with the elements of the Earth Mother into helping her with her energy as she begins on a continued journey of density and rising through that. Can you speak to what the Pleiadians are doing within the element that they are working with?
The Pleiadians are quite a number of groups and different timelines which have the ability to reach through into your linear landscape. Each will have its own goal as individuals and as their individual groups embarking on a mission, so to speak. So there are multiple answers to that question. The ancient energy of which you refer is known to us, and we honor its great abilities and energies, which are not only pleasing to us, but in some ways exceed our own abilities, as they have many powers which are very strong and they are able to summon energies which most beings are not only not aware of, but go beyond the capabilities of many who are assisting in the ascension. So as for specific Pleiadians, again, there are many who are having different roles in the ascension. Some are more focused on identifying individuals who are likely, who have a higher probability of coming through to us and calling us in. For it is your reality which indicates to us that you, as individuals and collective and other groups, are ready for those contacts. When you are ready, the contact will initiate in the dream state and various readiness tests depending on the missions and desires of those who wish to interact will respond. Now, those may change as everything changes, and as the vibrations and needs of the individuals or groups or collective change, then they will take up those missions in the timelines which suit their needs. Kind of like if you are playing a game of cards or bridge or one of those games, you select the cards which you believe will help you as best to accomplish your goals, and you discard others which you have believed are not the best way to get to those goals. Such are the timelines which are used by many Pleiadians. Some, of course, wish to be firsthand and to experience personal contact themselves. We ourselves are not they. We are helping and experiencing through others, but we will not be physicalized in your particular timeline. Does that satisfy you for now, we will say?
Yes, it does. It affirmed things that I already knew about the Pleiadians and the group that is here. I say here as in this is where I
A minor adjustment. Please continue.
Arla, could you check your sound, please?
yes, checking.
Okay, there we are.
Okay,
Thank
are
you.
we back?
Yeah, I don't know what
Okay.
happened, but your
We will
sound.
never leave you. There is
Yeah, it said
back.
my microphone wasn't.
Hmm.
Okay, but you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. They are working here in a physical form part of the time, energetically, if you want to use that term, as well. So I appreciate what you have said. It helps to affirm to me things that they are telling me and working with me.
You are most welcome. They are always going to assume the form which meets their purposes. Of course.
I'm honored to be in front of the Pleiadians of the seventh dimension. You are very well represented as a group in many circles on Earth. The YouTube universe has many that channel various different groups, Pleiadians. I have noticed that the messages do carry different levels, and at times it seems that some of the channelers get into matters that are a little bit more earthbound, I would say, which makes me sometimes question a little bit the true nature of the energies that are behind it. And very recently, a person that I occasionally listen to was channeling, and he does not channel Pleiadians, channels different entities, particularly the Saint Germain particular aspect, among others. And he made a reference to Pleiadians that was rather negative. And he referred to the Pleiadian agenda. I was kind of surprised by that, personally. But given the very wide range of various different channelings of Pleiadians that I have in some way experienced, I like your commentary as to not just the messaging, but the true character of the Pleiadian existence in this realm.
The Pleiadians are not going to lie or mislead anyone, but understand that, like the fables on your planet, sometimes it is necessary to say things because they cannot be understood otherwise to help lead people to better understanding, like your Santa Claus myth. Obviously, all of you know that there is no Santa Claus, but in some ways, it helps the aims of the humans to throw that out there, so to speak. to keep the mystery of that surprise and the joy of opening presents on Christmas Day, not only for the individual, but for the parents or guardians or those observing to experience that joy as well. That is not really our way, but it is an example. And the other thing is, from the perspective of others, you may not be aware of the true aim of our efforts, or the efforts of other Pleiadians, we must add. So I believe the channel recognized that as Mr. Scranton, and he is more than willing to his expression. And obviously, whatever resonates with you, you are all learned enough to take that to heart. And if it does not, we are glad that you do not hesitate in questioning the information which does not sit with you or does not fit the mold of beliefs which you have already established and put faith in. There may be some beliefs which he may hold which have led to his realization for that. We cannot comment on that, or we shall not comment on that, as that is not really not our real focus, but we put trust in the other Pleiadians who are interacting at different levels to do what is best for them and will not judge, as we are not they. Now, in some ways, those actions may be misinterpreted. And if that is the case, then obviously the beliefs which spring from that emotion may not sit well. So while that is a non-answer for your question, we hope that it does provide some answer for you.
Thank you. I continue to understand better the various different levels of Pleiadians that are expressing.
And that is a part of your path, is to help identify the different energies which are coming in. We urge you to just relax a bit on that and not try so hard, as whatever comes to you will come to you if you open up just a wee bit more and throw off those expectations which you may have lingering, which, well, we know that you know, so we will let you proceed from there.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Tom, you're next.
All right. So I have this question that has like two facets, I guess. So first of all, you mentioned that there's a line of beings are lining up. Beings are lining up to communicate through me or with me. So any insights on who those beings might be? And part of that also is I felt a very, very strong connection to the Pleiadians. And so maybe perhaps the answer to that first question is that maybe it is the Pleiadians, right? So if you have any expansion on my connection to Pleiadians that you care to offer, then I'm all ears too.
Well, as you know, and if you reflect on how you would answer this question, then you know that it will unfold in the most natural and efficient way for all parties involved. And with the beings who are helping with the ascension on your planet of all species, not just humans, then as those needs arise, then they will step in at that time. As far as your own personal Pleiadian connection, again, we believe that you are well equipped to explore that on your own. And if you think about the scope of humanity and the scope of entities who wish to join in ways the biggest party in town, as it has been called, then you will know that there are many, many entities who outnumber those who are able and willing to allow them to come through. That is why there is an explosion in some ways of individuals who can now channel many different beings. And once they get a taste of more beings, then they desire to have more and more come through. Unfortunately for them in some ways, and fortunate for the rest of the dimensions, that will happen in its time. Some of those have been inserted, but have not settled in, as you may have summarized, like a leaf that falls from the tree, which falls in its own time, and then when it finally reaches its destination of the ground, then everything is ready on the ground for it to be received in the manner in which it is supposed to be. It may do quite the dance before it reaches that ground level. And so it is with all contacts with extraterrestrials and the humans who are ascended high enough in vibrational range to accommodate them. The nuances of this is not really a vying of entities, but more a vying of energetic pathways which open up, and then the most suited will then take that, like a quiz show with a group, and they pick the person who is most likely to be able to fulfill the desire of getting the correct answer to the right question at the right time. Is that how we understand you would have phrased it differently? Is that how you would have answered?
Are you asking me that question?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I felt a little bit like I'm getting the same answer as Zile, of course, and I kind of knew that would happen, but it's just like, curiosity, you know what I mean? It's like knock on the door and, who knows what will come. So I thought I'd give it a shot too.
Yep. That is the nature of your mirror meditation and lesson which you provided to the group, is it not?
Hmm. Yeah, actually, that is all about making contact with those counterparts. Yeah, indeed.
And you will see what you are meant to see and feel what you are meant to feel. But do not limit your explorations for expansion to beings only, as there are energies which
Mhm.
may connect with you as well if you are not limited by the forms of expectation.
Totally. And I totally resonate with what you say that everything just unfolds in its own timing. Because it's like when I was younger, I would kind of go looking for things, right? And now it's just like I live my life and do the formula of Bashar, and things just pop in when they're ready, and not a moment too soon and not a moment too late. So it's just, I totally, totally get that timing aspect.
You have much to teach many, many people, including members of this group, and your examples and your channeling have inspired others and have expanded your own personal reach in ways. We reach you to help you explore those mechanics of connection that are available to you, which you may not have utilized as of yet in your communications.
Mhm. Mechanics of connection. Can you expand on what you mean?
You are available in several different formats But perhaps there are others which you have not utilized other than Facebook groups and YouTube and podcasts.
Oh, physical contact mechanisms.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Now I understand more.
Yes. And in a way of speaking, obviously, they are not physical, but merely a different energetic path which may branch off in ways.
Hmm. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting food for thought is how can I, yeah, reach people in other ways?
That is a goal of yours, is it not?
It is indeed.
We suggest maybe advertising personal sessions
I do that, but perhaps I'll do it more.
or find a different avenue of putting those out there, and maybe a tagline which may be of interest to others who
Mm.
may not know of your gifts as of yet, which are many.
I could put it out to the group.
Your intuition will guide you. We have faith.
Thank you.
Is the channel doing well still?
We are not tiring, and as the channel relayed to a couple of you, he has broken his detox or ended his detox and has entertained caffeine for the first time. So if we choose to leave, we would do so as we are quite familiar with his thresholds, and even now work on strengthening his abilities to handle more and of our energy and more diverse energies, as we do with each of these contacts. Kind of like every time you visit a rehab home as the contractor, you find yourself making little adjustments and doing a little here and a little there, and soon you have the finished home which you can show off to everyone.
Perfect. Thomas, do you want to have another question?
Do I want to have another question?
Yes.
Gosh.
You can, yeah. If you're not ready at the moment, I can go to somebody else. But
He is
Yeah, I think
he is considerate of others and does not wish to hog time, so to speak.
I was going to say Zila is kind of waiting in the wings, right?
Always.
Scylla is always waiting in the wings. That's part of her song. But we'll come back to you, Thomas. And Scylla, it's your turn.
Thank you. So I have two questions. One is with regards to my counterpart, and the other is with regards to interpersonal relationships moving forward. Which would you like for us to discuss?
We can address both, but we wish to remind you that you have two questions is again quite amusing to us, as that is nowhere near the entire truth. As far as Esme, she is a valuable and experienced contact, and you together have made great strides with her counterpart in ways. Even though they are not directly related, they have seen the benefits of joining up in coordinating the growth of both of you as you connect together on many levels, including the physical, the spiritual, and through your channeling. There are even more of those benefits coming to you, as those may act in some ways as a radio which receives all channels available to it at the same time, and you adjust the dial to focus on whatever station that you wish. You are in good hands as you are being spoon-fed the entities which are most beneficial and appropriate for you, as you already know. it is delightful for all of your group to watch your growth, which has been quite rapid. And there will be many other beings who you will elicit to connect with, but that remains to be seen and or sorted out, we will say.
All righty. Thank you for that. I won't ask any more on her because I know probably what you're going to say. But so there's been an interesting development. And one of the things I'm very interested in exploring is, so from my perspective, like it's all great when we agree on stuff, but it is actually when we don't disagree and what we do when we don't disagree, which I'm finding very exciting to explore. Can you give maybe any advice on how to move forward when we disagree? So still remain cohesive, but individuals, and that it's all right to disagree without it disintegrating our bonds to a point that's irreparable. Or maybe how you did that in your civilization before you became non-physical.
Well, this answer will answer your other question about relationships as well. We did not forget about that. We wanted to ensure that the previous part resonated with you. In regards to that second question, which applies to this one as well, is not to have any expectations. Do not expect others to get it. And therefore, when they don't, know that they will in their own time. And you have a very effective phrase and strong telepathy where you can say, and that will key the other people into knowing that this is a moment of reflection for them. For in that little hum, so to speak, you will carry many messages and energies to them to allow them to reflect in real time, linearly, on what they say or what they're about to say, or even their actions which they may be contemplating. And that is a tool which you will find helpful, along with not having those expectations. You do a pretty good job of just accepting what they say, but you are not always content to leave it there because you know that you can help. But sometimes the bolt you are putting in is slightly larger than the hole that they are willing to make to allow it. So the additional force which you feel that is required sometimes, maybe you should put that advice about proceeding and tell yourself, and that may open up other options to you as well, which is, of course, the answer you would have given yourself had this situation been reversed.
That's interesting. I have a lot to think about. Thank you. Chat soon.
Tom, we're back to you.
So honestly, I'm kind of drawing a blank. So if there's something you kind of want to bring to me, then I'm all ears, but I don't really have a specified question.
This advice, not only for you, but for everybody in the group, may sound a bit unlikely, but try to imagine what you cannot imagine. For there are avenues of thought and impulses awaiting you, which that freedom of reaching out into asking yourself, what is it that I cannot imagine? And seeing what happens and playing with that. In the meditative state, it is most effective. But even before bed, giving yourself the suggestion that you will be shown something which will excite you, which you have not thought of, which may be beyond your capacity at this time. It is reaching for the brass ring on the carousel in some ways, but you are not sure when the brass ring will show up. But if you imagine that you are able to reach it and grasp it, even not knowing that it is there, then you will help materialize and bring that in to maybe not your reality, but into your awaiting schoolwork, we will say. It will join in the queue of those who are vying for your personal attention in ways, and your higher self will pick and choose as to which ones they wish to have you follow up, so to speak. While our example is not really apt, we hope that the energy and meaning behind it will be more of service to you.
Awesome. I think this feels like the closing of the session here. Everyone's kind of dropping off.
So people are leaving, but maybe there is a little bit of a closing here. So the Pleiadians, first of all, we thank you. It is something that I believe that you have been with every one of us for our entire existence in this lifetime. I feel that that is true. And I feel that to some extent you are like the bigger brother that has been nurturing us personally, each one of us. Thank you
That
for that.
has
We
that
thank you
ha-
for that.
we appreciate your sincerity, and it for us in ways is we are always watching for those who trigger our attention, like the service personnel at a fine restaurant. If we see the look of someone who needs attention, we try to hover close by in case they signal us. And if that happens, then we are glad to provide whatever service that is appropriate for our particular mission, or to bring others in who are more apt for that specialty, we will say. So, in ways, you are very beneficial to us, not only in practicing our craft, but in allowing the right person to come to you at the right time, which is also a trademark of all beings who desire to help, although some may be more or appear to be more energetically involved and in more of a, we don't wish to say hurry, but their desires may be stronger than others, and that will not take precedence over what is best for the society and individuals which are ascending. Although it all happens in due time, some beings choose to interact with multiple timelines at the same time, and they, impatience is not the word either, but they wish to cross many timelines in the most efficient manner, which may not always be best for those on the receiving end, as they all must progress in their own ways. So those will not flow as easily as they might like, but that is their own journey to resolve, so to speak. And we thank you all, for you indeed have crossed the rivers of thought and are now safely on the other side. And you are waving back to your other selves, which you have left behind as you have taken this new knowledge to heart energetically. And to go back to your question, all of you and those who are listening to this at a later linear time will, if you are doing it, it is because you have the impetus and have been called to do so, when in fact it is you which are calling us and other beings in. We are merely responding to the vibrational frequency which you are putting out, indicating that you are ready of this energetic co-creation. And we thank you all. And we recede.
And we thank you. Thank you.
Where'd everybody go?
Hey, how you doing? Well, they've been dropping off one at a time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Wow,
I
it's
think it's
almost 10. So how long was that?
you were well over an hour. So what can I say? You know, you picked it up an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, thereabouts.
you also started long after 6 o'clock, or long after the start time.
Yeah.
So I think this because it started at 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it's like a 3-hour session for everybody, right? So
Well,
it's a long time.
altogether was a 3-hour session.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It
So
was.
people,
It's,
so people can only handle this much, and then
I
they're
know.
like,
Hey, I
"Wow,
thought you were already gone. God,
Yeah, me too.
I
you're
also
still
thought I was
there.
already gone, and then
Ah,
I wasn't, but
yeah.
I am here. I wanted to see Ray out of the session. So yeah, it's almost 4 a.m. my time. So I am gone for reals.
Good night,
So
Zelia.
Yeah.
And
I
we're
gotta
glad
run
that,
too, actually,
Yeah.
guys.
okay.
Guys,
And
have a good
one,
night.
no
one
after
Sleep
final
well.
session
thing, if
tonight.
one final thing, if I may, they
Yes.
were glad to expound on Milo's question about play as well and amusement, because they were quick to point out things that they found slightly humorous. And
Yes.
I enjoyed that part on my end. And, that's where I kind of chuckled a bit, because that was my personal joy in coming through with their energy to bring that, because what they sent me was just so happy. And Tom, it is amazing. I got a small glimpse of the possibilities, like a paint store, and you have an idea of what you want, but you're really not sure of what colors that you want to paint and what combinations that you wish to have. And you are open to the salesman showing you new things to give you ideas which you may not have really considered in combinations. So there are many, many choices. That's the impression that I got. It was like, pick a card, any card, and you'll let your intuition guide you. And you're like, oh, I chose this entity. And if that's the right timeline, then it just folds right in and you can play that one. But no,
So,
there are just so many cards out there which you can utilize for your game.
so the metaphor of the paints is actually all the different entities that you're saying that are available.
And different shades of them, because obviously, as you know, they all file in, which is the best, which is the flow.
And
Thank you,
different
Zile.
styles. Different styles as well.
And thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I'm
I'm
hoping
waving
everybody
to
was
Zila because I think
satisfied.
she's fading out.
Yep, she's already sleeping. Her eyes are already closed, but
Yeah.
her smile is wide open. Love that.
I have other business to attend to before I go back to bed again and then wake up at whatever time